Good evening, and welcome to a journey not through space, but through the deep currents of time. Tonight, we'll gently drift back thousands of years, to a city that still whispers its stories across the ages, ancient Rome. As we embark on this imaginative voyage, please know there's no need to stay awake. This story is woven for your rest. You are safe, you are warm, and you are free to let sleep carry you away at any moment, at any point in our peaceful exploration. Imagine for a moment, not waking to the familiar chirping of digital alarms or the gentle hum of modern life, but to something far more ancient, something subtly different. We are not truly in the bustling, demanding heart of the eternal city, but rather observing it from a tranquil, comforting distance. Picture yourself, nestled deeply in the softest comfort, as we simply observe the very first stirrings of a new day, thousands of years ago. The air around you is soft, the blankets are warm, and your mind is free to wander gently. The deepest hours of the Roman night are beginning to recede. The moon, perhaps, has long since set, leaving the sky in a velvety blackness that is slowly, imperceptibly, lightening. There are no distant streetlights, no glow from countless windows to pierce this profound darkness. Instead, the only light that may have flickered hours ago would have been from an occasional oil lamp, a tiny beacon swallowed by the vastness of the slumbering city. Now, as the true dawn approaches, the very first hint of something other than absolute night begins to paint the eastern sky. A whisper of grey, almost imperceptible, touches the highest clouds, a promise of light yet to come. Listen closely, not with your ears, but with the quiet part of your imagination. The night is still dominant, holding Rome in its grip, but even now, the first subtle sounds begin to emerge. It's not the clamor of the forum or the rumble of chariots, not yet. These are the sounds of a city just barely stirring, a deep, underlying thrum that speaks of millions of lives about to awaken. Perhaps you hear the distant, drowsy crow of a rooster, a sound that has echoed through every human civilization. A dog might bark once, far off, its voice muffled by the thick walls of sleeping insulae, the multi-story apartment blocks that housed much of Rome's population. Then, silence returns, momentarily deeper for the brief interruption. As the grey light strengthens ever so slightly, you might perceive other, more domestic sounds. The soft creak of a door opening in a nearby home, perhaps an early riser fetching water from a shared tap or well. The gentle clink of a clay pot. A very distant, almost imperceptible rumble might be the first cart, laden with goods for the day's market, making its way on the cobblestone streets before the crowds descend. These are not sharp, jarring noises, but rather a soft, indistinct chorus, like the rustling of leaves in a far-off grove. They hint at life, at activity, but do not demand your attention, they simply exist, part of the ancient world's quiet awakening. The air itself begins to change. The cool, damp embrace of the pre-dawn hours, perhaps carrying the faint, earthy scent of wet stone and decaying leaves, slowly gives way to a drier, slightly warmer promise. There are no sudden shifts, no dramatic transformations, just a gradual, almost imperceptible warming. As that subtle grey light begins to infuse the eastern sky with the faintest blush of rose and gold, it illuminates the rooftops, the terracotta tiles absorbing the nascent warmth. You might imagine a wisp of smoke, a delicate thread against the brightening sky, rising from an early hearth where a simple breakfast is being prepared. It's the scent of wood smoke, perhaps mingled with the faint aroma of freshly baked bread from an artisan's oven, a smell that speaks of comfort and simple sustenance, drifting gently on the still morning air. This is the dawn of ancient Rome, a symphony of subtle shifts, a painting of soft hues. The city is still mostly asleep, its vibrant, challenging heart yet to truly beat. We are merely observing its quiet breathing, its gentle transition from the deep slumber of night to the first tentative stretches of day. You are safe, you are calm, and this gentle observation requires nothing of you. The echoes of Rome are far away, and your own cozy space is filled only with peace and the promise of deep, undisturbed rest. Let your breath deepen, let your thoughts soften, and allow yourself to drift into the quiet comfort of sleep. Imagine, for a moment, a different kind of awakening. Not the gentle chime of your modern alarm, nor the soft glow of a digital clock, but a slow, gradual stir as the first faint hint of dawn tries to penetrate the heavy shutters of an ancient Roman insula, or perhaps the small, unglazed window of a modest domus. The pre-dawn air, even in the heart of the eternal city, carried a distinct chill, a cool breath against your skin, far removed from the consistent warmth of a centrally heated home. You are not nestled in the cushioned embrace of a memory foam mattress, but rather stretched upon a lectors a simple wooden frame strung with woven straps, supporting a mattress filled with straw or dried reeds, perhaps even sheep's wool for those of greater means. The linen sheets, though clean, feel coarser against your skin, a texture of pure natural fibers, woven without the softeners and blends of today. As your eyes gently flutter open, there's no immediate rush to check a phone or glance at a news feed. Instead, your senses slowly begin to gather information from this unfamiliar room. The light is diffused, a soft, grayish pallor, gradually strengthening as the sun begins its ascent over the 7 hills. You might notice the smell of damp earth mingling with the faint, lingering scent of last night's charcoal brazier, if one was used, a subtle earthiness that speaks of a world deeply connected to its natural elements. Perhaps there's a distant, almost imperceptible whisper of wood smoke from a neighbor's hearth, just beginning their own morning preparations. Listen closely, and you might begin to discern the very first, tentative sounds of the city stirring. Not the drone of distant traffic, but perhaps the lonely crow of a rooster from a nearby courtyard, or the gentle, rhythmic clop of a donkey cart making its very first delivery through the narrow, cobbled streets. These sounds are not constant or overwhelming yet, they are the quiet, organic overture to a bustling day. The silence of the Roman night, often broken by different, less comforting sounds, now slowly gives way to a new kind of calm, a pre-industrial hum that is both foreign and strangely grounding. There is no hot shower awaiting you, no immediate rush of clean, purified water from a tap. The morning ablutions in ancient Rome were a far simpler, more deliberate affair. You might reach for a small basin of cool water, perhaps brought in by a servant, or fetched from a communal fountain hours ago. The water, stored in an earthenware jug, would be cool against your hands and face, invigorating in its freshness. A simple sponge, perhaps a pumice stone for exfoliation, and a rudimentary soap made from ash and animal fat would be your tools for cleanliness. There's no foamy lather, no fragrant shower gel, just the pure sensation of water on skin, awakening your senses with its brisk touch. Imagine the feeling of that cool water, splashing your face, a truly unfiltered connection to the element itself. Dressing would be a straightforward process. For a man, a simple woolen tunic, perhaps belted at the waist. For a woman, an undertunic, then a stola, a long dress fastened at the shoulders, perhaps topped with a palla, a rectangular cloak. The texture of the wool and linen would be different from modern fabrics, less refined, but robust and honest. There are no complex fastenings, no zippers or buttons to contend with, just the drape of fabric, secured with pins or simple brooches. Feel the weight of the wool, the lightness of the linen, as you slowly prepare for the day, your body adjusting to the warmth of the clothing against the cool air. Breakfast, or ientaculum*, was not the elaborate affair many of us enjoy today. Instead, it was typically a frugal meal, designed to simply break the night's fast. Perhaps a piece of bread, still warm from a local bakery, though it would be a denser, coarser bread than you're used to, made from wheat or barley. You might accompany it with a few olives, some dried fruit, a slice of cheese, or perhaps some cold leftovers from the previous evening's meal. There would be no coffee or tea to stimulate your senses, but perhaps water, or a very weak, diluted wine. Taste the simplicity of these flavors, the saltiness of the olives, the earthy tang of the cheese, the natural sweetness of the fruit. It's a nourishment that is immediate and unadorned, connecting you directly to the harvest of the land. As the morning progresses, the light through the shutters brightens, casting shifting patterns on the walls. The air, though still cool, feels fresh, carrying the scent of nascent activity from outside. You are still within the safe confines of your imagined Roman dwelling, observing, listening, feeling. The transition from the stillness of sleep to the gentle hum of an awakening world is a gradual one, a natural rhythm dictated by the sun and the needs of a pre-industrial society. There is a slowness to this awakening, a quiet contemplation before the day's demands begin. Now, as you gently reflect on this unfamiliar awakening, allow yourself to feel the comforting warmth of your own bed, the softness of your modern sheets, the quiet hum of your familiar surroundings. Let the imagined sensations of ancient Rome slowly recede, like the fading echoes of a dream. You are safe, warm, and perfectly at peace in your own time, simply drifting on the currents of history. Allow yourself to settle deeper into your comfort as the sounds of the past gently melt away into the quiet serenity of your present moment. As the first tendrils of morning light begin to stretch and deepen, painting the upper reaches of the multistory insulae with a gentle, golden glow, you find yourself ready to venture forth from your unfamiliar lodging. Imagine, for a moment, the quietude of your own modern street, perhaps a distant hum of traffic, the chirping of a lone bird, or the gentle rustle of leaves. Now, let those familiar sounds begin to recede, as if fading into a dream, replaced by an awakening symphony unlike anything you have ever experienced. Step with me, softly, into the narrow, winding lanes of ancient Rome, just as the city truly begins to stir. Even before you emerge fully, a low, vibrant hum begins to reach you, a complex tapestry of sound that promises to envelop you completely. This is not the measured, ordered bustle of a modern city, but a living, breathing entity, constantly shifting and evolving with its own unique rhythms. The moment you cross the threshold, the sensory deluge begins, a warm, overwhelming embrace that challenges every modern notion of urban space. Your eyes, accustomed to broad avenues and clear sightlines, must now navigate a landscape of close-packed buildings, their upper stories often jutting out precariously, creating a perpetual twilight in the lanes below. Sunlight, when it does pierce through, falls in sharp, theatrical shafts, illuminating swirling dust motes and the vibrant, earthy tones of tunics worn by the multitude. You might catch a glimpse of faded frescoes adorning a shop front, or the glint of a bronze vessel hanging outside a merchant stall, all rendered in a palette of deep reds, ochres, and blues that speak of a different age. But it is the sound that truly commands your attention, a ceaseless, ever-present chorus. Listen for a moment, the rumble of wooden cartwheels, their iron-bound rims grinding against uneven cobblestones, a sound that vibrates up through the very ground beneath your feet. Hear the rhythmic clip-clop of donkeys and mules, their hooves striking the stone with a steady beat, often accompanied by the jingle of their harness bells. Overlaying this percussive foundation is a cacophony of human voices, the sharp, clear calls of street vendors hawking their wares, bread. Fresh bread from the oven, or wine. Sweet Falernian wine. Their cries echoing off the tall, unadorned walls. Fragments of Latin conversation drift past, a lively babble of greetings, negotiations, and gossip, punctuated by the occasional shout or laugh. Children's playful squeals intertwine with the deeper, more serious tones of men discussing business and the melodic cadence of women exchanging stories as they walk. And then, the smells. Take a deep, gentle breath and allow this intricate olfactory tapestry to unfold around you. The comforting aroma of freshly baked bread, warm and yeasty, wafts enticingly from a nearby planarium star. This might mingle with the sharp, pungent scent of garum the ubiquitous Roman fish sauce emanating from a small eatery, or the earthy musk of damp stone and the faint, ever-present tang of wood smoke from countless hearths. There are notes of sweet wine and olive oil, the faint, exotic spice from a merchant's stall, and, yes, the less pleasant but unavoidable undertones of human and animal waste, carried on the breeze and dampened by the occasional spillage from an overflowing drain. Yet, amidst this richness, you might also catch a delicate hint of blossoms from a hidden courtyard garden, or the clean, mineral scent of water splashing from a public fountain, a small, refreshing oasis for weary travelers. Feel, too, the textures of this ancient world. The unevenness of the paved street beneath your sandals, each stone worn smooth by centuries of footsteps and cartwheels, yet still presenting a constant challenge to your balance. The brush of rough woolen tunics as you navigate through the press of the crowd, the accidental touch of a leathery hand, the cool, smooth surface of a marble pillar as you lean for a moment's respite. The air itself might feel different, perhaps warmer and heavier in the sun-drenched squares, or cool and damp in the shadowy alleys, carrying with it the grit of fine dust that settles on everything. This constant, close proximity to so many lives, so many different destinies, is a profound experience. You are not an anonymous observer here, you are woven into the very fabric of the street, an indistinguishable part of the living current. The sheer density of people, the constant movement, the lack of private space, it is a testament to a world where personal boundaries were simply drawn differently. The chaos, then, is not one of danger or fear, but of an overwhelming, vibrant life a relentless stream of sensations that would challenge your modern senses to their very core, demanding a constant awareness and adaptation that feels utterly foreign. As you allow these myriad sensations to wash over you, let the sheer density and vitality of this ancient street scene begin to soften, to blur at the edges. The clamor of voices and carts, the intricate dance of smells, the kaleidoscope of sights, let them slowly transform into a gentle, distant hum. Imagine yourself finding a quiet corner, perhaps near a gurgling fountain, where the sounds become less distinct, blending into a soothing, consistent murmur. The vibrancy of the day begins to settle, becoming a background lullaby, a soft, warm blanket woven from the echoes of a long-lost world, inviting you now to simply rest and drift. After the bustling sounds and crowded pathways of the Roman morning, a different kind of sensory experience begins to beckon, one that speaks to the most fundamental human need, sustenance. Imagine, for a moment, the shift in aromas as you move from the public thoroughfare into the more intimate sphere of Roman dining. The air, which moments ago carried the tang of wood smoke and damp earth, might now begin to hint at something simmering, something savory, or perhaps the sharp, briny scent of a ubiquitous Roman condiment. Your modern palate, accustomed to its familiar comforts, would find itself on a journey of discovery, starting with the very first meal of the day. For the average Roman, the ientaculum or breakfast, was often a simple affair, a light repast to break the night's fast. Picture a piece of yesterday's bread, perhaps dipped in wine, or a handful of olives, their earthy bitterness awakening your senses. A morsel of cheese, firm and salty, might accompany this, or a few dried figs, their sweetness a gentle promise of the day ahead. There was no rush for a grand morning feast, life in Rome unfolded at a different rhythm, one where the main culinary event awaited the day's end. As the morning matured and the sun climbed higher, casting longer shadows down narrow alleys, the thought of the prandium or midday meal might arise. This was typically another light repast, often taken quickly, perhaps standing at a counter. Here, you might encounter a Roman thermopolium a kind of ancient fast food stand, its counter adorned with large clay pots, or dolia set into the marble. Listen for the clatter of earthenware and the murmur of voices as citizens grab a quick bite. The air here is thick with the inviting steam of hot stews, perhaps a lentil pottage or a simple vegetable broth, seasoned generously with herbs. You might detect the distinctive, pungent aroma of garum the fermented fish sauce that was a cornerstone of Roman cuisine, used as widely as salt in our own time. It would be an acquired taste for your modern tongue, certainly, but its presence was undeniable, weaving itself into almost every savory dish. A warm, spiced wine, perhaps, or plain water, would wash down these simple but hearty offerings, preparing you for the afternoon's work. But it was the the evening meal, that truly defined Roman dining, especially for those of means. Imagine stepping into a triclinium a Roman dining room, where the soft glow of oil lamps casts a warm, inviting light across frescoed walls. Instead of chairs, you would recline on comfortable couches, 3 to a table, arranged in a U-shape. The air would be rich with the complex fragrances of exotic spices, peppercorns from India, cinnamon from distant lands, and a myriad of local herbs like mint, rue, and coriander. For the wealthy, this was a multi-course affair, a lavish display of culinary artistry. The gusttatio might begin with light appetizers, eggs, olives, or fresh garden salad. Then, the main courses, the primi mensi would arrive. Picture platters laden with roasted meats, tender pork, succulent lamb, perhaps even fowl like duck or goose, all bathed in rich, often sweet and sour sauces, thickened with honey or pounded nuts. Fish, freshly caught, might be served with delicate herb dressings. The absence of certain familiar ingredients, like tomatoes or potatoes, would be striking, but the Roman chefs compensated with an imaginative use of what was available, creating flavors both bold and subtle. Dining was a tactile experience. Forks, as we know them, were not yet part of the Roman table. Instead, you would use your fingers, often assisted by a spoon for liquids or a small knife for tougher meats. Slaves would frequently bring basins of scented water for washing hands between courses, a testament to the hands-on nature of the meal. Conversation would flow easily, perhaps accompanied by the gentle strumming of a lyre or the soft voices of entertainers. Wine, often diluted with water, would be poured from ornate amphorae, its ruby hues catching the lamplight. Finally, the secundi mensi the desserts, would arrive, fresh fruits like figs, grapes, and apples, or sweet cakes made with honey and cheese, providing a gentle close to the culinary journey. For the common Roman, the evening meal was far simpler, a bowl of hearty pulse a thick porridge made from grain, perhaps with vegetables and a scrap of salted fish or cheese. It was sustenance, warmth, and the comfort of a shared meal with family, even if taken on a simple stool or the floor. The troubles of Roman dining were often subtle, the omnipresent garum the sheer richness of some dishes that might challenge a modern stomach, or the more pragmatic concern of food preservation in a world without refrigeration. But beneath these differences lay the universal comfort of breaking bread, of sharing a meal, of finding warmth and connection at the end of a long Roman day. As the last dish is cleared and the soft lamplight continues to glow, imagine the gentle hum of contentment settling over the Roman household. The day's sensory adventure, from the bustling street to the intimate dining couch, begins to soften and blur. The echoes of ancient flavors and forgotten customs gently recede, leaving you with a sense of the enduring human need for nourishment and community, a feeling as old as the eternal city itself, now inviting you to sink deeper into your own peaceful slumber. As the sun climbs higher over the forum, painting the worn stones in hues of gold and amber, the gentle stirrings of the city give way to the purposeful rhythm of daily toil. The morning air, once cool and crisp, begins to warm, carrying with it new scents, not just of baking bread and fragrant incense, but of wood smoke, freshly turned earth, and the distant, metallic tang of a blacksmith's forge. Listen closely, and you might hear the rhythmic clang of hammer on anvil, a steady beat that speaks of creation and effort. Imagine, if you will, a world where every task, every product, every structure is born from the direct application of human energy. There are no whirring motors, no humming machines to ease the burden. The power that builds temples, harvests fields, and crafts household goods resides almost entirely in muscle and sinew, in practiced hands and enduring spirits. Think of the sheer physical presence required in ancient Roman life, from the moment the day began until the sun dipped below the horizon. Consider first the fields that fed the city, stretching beyond the urban sprawl. Here, under the unrelenting Mediterranean sun, men and women would bend their backs to the earth. The feel of the sun-baked soil, gritty beneath bare feet or simple sandals, the weight of a hand plow, the rhythmic swing of a scythe through ripening grain, these were the constant companions of the farmer. Feel for a moment the pull in the shoulders, the ache in the lower back, as rows upon rows of wheat or barley are tended, harvested, then threshed by hand. The air here would be thick with dust and the sweet scent of dry straw, perhaps punctuated by the chirping of cicadas, a relentless sound that only intensifies the sense of heat and effort. There are no large, mechanical harvesters, every stalk is managed by human hands, every grain a testament to enduring patience and strength. Then, perhaps, turn your thoughts to the workshops nestled within the city's bustling *insulae* or along quieter side streets. Step into the cool, earthy air of a pottery workshop. The scent of damp clay is pervasive, mingled with the faint, smoky tang from the kiln in the corner. Here, the potter's hands move with practiced grace, shaping vessels on a foot-powered wheel, the soft, squelching sound of the clay a quiet counterpoint to the gentle hum of the turning disc. Feel the cool, pliable material yield beneath skilled fingers, transforming from a lump of earth into an elegant amphora or a sturdy cooking pot. Yet, this delicate artistry is underpinned by relentless repetition, hours spent hunched over the wheel, the body absorbing the subtle vibrations of creation. Or perhaps you drift further, to the resounding clamor of a smithy. The air here is thick with the scent of charcoal and hot metal, a sharp, invigorating smell that speaks of transformative power. The glow of the forge casts dancing shadows on the walls, and the rhythmic *clink-clank* of hammer on iron fills the space, a powerful symphony of force and precision. Sparks fly, momentarily illuminating the concentrated faces of the smiths, their muscles rippling under the strain. Imagine the heat radiating from the forge, the intensity required to shape stubborn metal, the constant vigilance against burns and flying fragments. There are no safety goggles, no heavy-duty gloves beyond what rawhide might offer, only experience, dexterity, and a profound respect for the material. Even the construction sites, where magnificent aqueducts stretched across the landscape and grand temples rose skyward, tell a similar story of human endeavor. The air would be filled with the gritty scent of pulverized stone, the sharp crack of mallets shaping dressed blocks, and the creak of wooden scaffolding. Listen for the synchronized grunts of laborers as they hoist massive stones into place, their coordinated effort a testament to teamwork. The sheer scale of Roman engineering marvels was achieved block by heavy block, carried, lifted, and positioned by countless hands. While cranes and winches existed, powered by treadmills, they too relied entirely on human or animal muscle. The dust that coated everything, the sun beating down on exposed skin, the ever-present risk of injury from a falling tool or shifting stone, these were simply aspects of the daily grind. Even for those whose work seemed less physically demanding, such as scribes copying texts in dimly lit rooms or merchants haggling in crowded market stalls, the day was long and often arduous. Imagine the strain on the eyes from flickering oil lamps, or the endless hours spent standing, shouting, and persuading in the clamor of the marketplace, the air thick with the scent of spices, sweat, and unwashed crowds. There were no regulated breaks, no comfortable chairs with lumbar support, no easy ways to escape the elements or the relentless demands of commerce. As the day begins to wane, and the long shadows stretch across the city, the cumulative effect of this constant, unshielded labor becomes apparent. Bodies would ache, muscles would protest, and the dust and grime of the day would cling to skin and clothing. There were no comprehensive labor protections, no unions advocating for safer conditions or shorter hours. Work was often a matter of survival, a direct exchange of physical effort for the means to live. Lifespan was often shortened by the sheer wear and tear on the body, the constant exposure to elements, and the lack of reprieve. Now, as the memory of ancient Roman toil begins to gently recede, let your own muscles soften and relax. Feel the comforting stillness of your surroundings, the warmth of your bed, the gentle support beneath you. Allow the echoes of those distant, arduous days to fade into the quiet murmur of the past. Rest easy, knowing that your own comfort is a world away from the unending demands of ancient labor. Let the soothing calm wash over you, lulling you deeper into tranquility. The gentle hum of the past continues to draw us deeper into the eternal city, a city of contrasts, where magnificent engineering coexisted with daily struggles we rarely encounter. As the soft light of our imagination paints the scene, let's consider for a moment something deeply fundamental to human life, health and well-being. Imagine waking each day in ancient Rome, not just to the sounds and smells we've explored, but to an entirely different understanding of the body, of illness, and of care. The Romans, for all their ingenuity, lived in a world without the germ theory, without antibiotics, without the precise surgical tools and diagnostic techniques that we take for granted. Yet, they were pioneers in some aspects of public health. Listen carefully, and you might almost hear the distant, steady flow of water along the great aqueducts, a marvel of engineering that brought fresh, clean water from distant springs into the heart of the city. This water wasn't just for drinking, it fed the public fountains, where citizens gathered with amphorae, and, most famously, it supplied the vast, steaming public baths. Picture yourself stepping into the warmth of the *thermi*, the public baths, a central pillar of Roman life. Feel the smooth marble beneath your feet, the enveloping steam on your skin, the gentle murmur of voices echoing around you. Here, amidst the splashing water and the scent of fragrant oils, Romans would cleanse themselves, exercise, and socialize. It was a place of ritual and relaxation, a communal space where hygiene was pursued with a dedication that might surprise us. Yet, even as the Romans embraced cleanliness, the fundamental knowledge of how diseases spread remained elusive. The same bathwater, shared by many, could also inadvertently become a medium for the transmission of ailments. Beyond the baths, the story of Roman public health becomes more complex. While the famous Cloaca Maxima, the Great Sewer, was an impressive feat, it didn't serve every home, nor did it eliminate all the waste from the bustling streets. Imagine the underlying scent of the city, a mixture of earth, cooking fires, and, yes, the less pleasant effluvia that was often simply discarded into narrow alleys or open drains. This constant presence of waste, combined with a dense population, created an environment where sickness could spread with alarming speed. Consider, for a moment, the vulnerability of life in this ancient world. A simple cut, which today might be treated with a dab of antiseptic and forgotten, could easily fester and become a life-threatening infection. A common fever, which for us is often a temporary discomfort, could spiral into a serious illness without modern diagnostics or medications. The specter of illness, from insidious fevers to sudden, devastating plagues, was a constant companion to life in Rome. When sickness did strike, where would one turn? There were doctors, medici, certainly, many of them Greek, whose knowledge was a blend of observation, philosophy, and often, superstition. Imagine the experience: a physician might examine you, not with a stethoscope or thermometer, but by feeling your pulse, observing your complexion, and perhaps offering theories about the balance of humors within your body. Their remedies might include herbal concoctions, strange dietary advice, or even practices like bloodletting or cupping, methods that, to our modern sensibilities, seem more likely to harm than to heal. For most, care would begin at home, within the familiar walls of their dwelling. Family members, drawing upon generations of accumulated folk wisdom, would administer poultices of herbs, offer comforting broths, and simply provide warmth and rest. There were no hospitals as we understand them, no sterile environments dedicated to healing the sick, save for basic facilities for soldiers or slaves on large estates. Childbirth, for instance, a natural yet intensely risky event in any era, carried a far higher chance of tragedy for both mother and infant without modern obstetric care. The quiet fear of losing a loved one to an illness that today we consider minor must have been a heavy, ever-present weight in many Roman homes. As the Roman day begins to gently fade in our minds, and the imagined sounds of its bustling streets grow softer, consider the quiet gratitude we might feel for the advancements of our own time. The very air we breathe, the water we drink, the simple availability of effective medicine and compassionate care, these are comforts born of centuries of discovery and understanding. Let the thought of this ancient vulnerability allow you to sink deeper into the security of your own present moment. You are safe, you are warm, and the quiet knowledge of health and comfort surrounds you. Close your eyes and let the echoes of Rome recede, leaving only the peaceful stillness of your own comfortable space. After the long hours of the Roman day, with its demanding toil and bustling streets, a different kind of rhythm emerged as the sun began its slow descent. This was the time for leisure, for the spectacles that drew the city together, offering a vibrant counterpoint to the more serious matters of life. Imagine, if you will, the gentle hum of anticipation that would begin to ripple through the city as people looked forward to an evening of relaxation or thrilling entertainment. Perhaps your first inclination, after a day of unfamiliar demands, would be to seek the comforting warmth of the public baths. Picture yourself stepping through an archway, leaving the noisy street behind, and entering a vast complex of marble and mosaic. The air here is instantly softer, infused with the scent of perfumed oils and warm, steamy water. Listen for a moment to the sounds, the gentle splashing of water, the low murmur of conversation, the occasional melodic strains of a lyre played softly in the distance. The baths were more than just a place to cleanse, they were a social club, a library, a gymnasium, a sanctuary. You might first ease into the tepidarium a room of pleasant warmth, letting your muscles begin to relax. Feel the smooth, cool marble beneath your bare feet, the soft, humid air on your skin. Then, perhaps, into the caldarium where the heat is more intense, a thick cloud of steam rising from the hot pool. Here, you could let the day's worries melt away, feeling the warmth penetrate deep into your bones, your breath misting gently in the air. After a good soak, a gentle scraping with a *strigil* to remove the day's grime, and a luxurious massage with fragrant oils, you would emerge feeling utterly refreshed, your skin soft and clean, your mind wonderfully calm. But beyond the personal sanctuary of the baths, Rome offered grander, more public forms of amusement. Imagine strolling towards one of the magnificent open-air theaters as the late afternoon sun casts long shadows across the ancient stones. The air is filled with the buzz of the crowd, a mix of excited chatter and the rustle of togas. Inside, tiers of seats rise steeply, forming a vast semicircle around a stage where actors in elaborate masks and costumes would bring stories to life. The plays might be comedies, full of boisterous laughter, or serious tragedies, prompting a quiet, collective sigh from the audience. The sounds carry beautifully in the open air, the clear, projected voices of the actors, the subtle music, the collective gasps or applause from the thousands gathered under the vast, open sky. It was a shared experience, a temporary escape into narrative and drama, a chance to feel connected to the pulse of the city's emotional life. And then there were the spectacles, the grand events that truly defined Roman entertainment, and perhaps, most vividly, challenged modern sensibilities. Picture yourself not in the heart of the action, but perhaps standing at a distance, observing the colossal structure of the Colosseum or the expansive oval of the Circus Maximus. Imagine the sheer scale of the crowds, tens of thousands of people, all drawn together by a common purpose, to witness a spectacle. Listen for the distant roar that would rise from these arenas, a sound like a living thing, reflecting the collective passion of the Roman populace. In the Circus Maximus, you might hear the thunder of hooves, the excited shouts as chariots, pulled by magnificent horses, raced around the track in a blur of speed and color. Imagine the tension, the cheers, the sheer thrill that would course through the stands as teams vied for victory, the dust rising in great clouds under the brilliant Roman sun. And in the amphitheater, the spectacles were of a different kind. While we need not dwell on the details, it is enough to understand that these events, whether gladiatorial contests or staged hunts, were a central part of Roman life, reflecting a different set of values and a profound appreciation for skill, bravery, and dramatic display. From a safe, distant vantage point, you might only perceive the vastness of the crowd, the sunlight glinting off the arena's sand, and the continuous, powerful hum of thousands of voices. It was a world where entertainment could be both deeply relaxing and profoundly intense, where the boundaries of what was considered acceptable leisure were drawn in very different places than they are today. The very air around these venues would vibrate with the energy of the crowd, an undeniable force that pulled you into the unique atmosphere of Roman leisure. As the sun finally dipped below the horizon, casting the city in hues of orange and purple, the crowds would begin to disperse, their voices echoing softly through the streets as they made their way home. The excitement of the day's spectacles would linger, a memory to be discussed over dinner. But for you, now, as the ancient world gently recedes, let the images of Roman leisure fade into a soft blur. Allow the sounds of distant crowds, splashing water, and soft music to become nothing more than a gentle lullaby, guiding you deeper into a tranquil rest. Feel the lingering warmth of that imagined Roman day, a soothing sensation that wraps around you, preparing you for a night of peaceful slumber. As the Roman day unfolded, you might find your senses growing accustomed to the constant thrum of the city, the interplay of light and shadow on ancient stones. But beneath the surface of daily life, another intricate web existed, one far more subtle and demanding, the social fabric of Rome. This wasn't merely a backdrop, it was a living, breathing entity, dictating almost every interaction, every gesture, every whisper. Imagine stepping into this world, where your place was not fluid, but firmly etched, where unspoken rules governed even the simplest exchange. From the moment the sun began its ascent, the rhythm of Roman social life would begin its subtle dance. You would quickly learn of the clientelar system, a vast network of reciprocal obligations binding individuals across all strata of society. A powerful patronus perhaps a senator with a grand home on the Palatine, would offer protection, legal aid, or even small gifts to his clients individuals of lesser means or status. In return, these clients would offer their loyalty, their votes, their public support, and their presence at the patron's early morning salutatio star. Listen for a moment to the soft shuffle of many sandals on cobblestones, the respectful murmurs in a grand atrium as clients gathered, waiting their turn to pay their respects, to offer their greetings. It was a daily ritual, a quiet affirmation of the social order, a visible demonstration of influence and dependence. For you, a modern soul accustomed to casual equality, this constant deference, this awareness of hierarchy, would be a profound shift. The air itself seemed to carry the weight of status. You'd observe it in the clothing, the pristine white toga, perhaps edged with a broad purple stripe for a senator or a narrower one for an equestrian, contrasting with the plainer tunic worn by many plebeians. Even the texture of the fabric, the quality of the dye, spoke volumes without a single word being uttered. You would learn to read these silent signals, understanding that a careless remark or an unthinking gesture could have ripples, sending you out of favor or causing an awkwardness you'd rather avoid. There was a constant, gentle pressure to observe, to understand, to adapt your own demeanor. Consider the different strata of Roman society, each with its own customs and expectations. At the very peak sat the patrician families, Rome's ancient aristocracy, whose lineage stretched back to the city's very foundations. Then came the broader senatorial class, men of immense wealth and political power, followed by the equestrians, a vibrant class of businessmen and financiers, distinct but often allied with the senatorial elite. Below them were the vast numbers of plebeians, the common citizens, artisans, shopkeepers, and laborers. And then, further down, the freedmen, former slaves who had gained their liberty but still carried the mark of their past, and at the very base, the silent, omnipresent majority, the slaves, whose lives were dictated by others, their existence a fundamental part of Roman daily life, though often invisible to the casual observer. Each group had its place, its specific rights and responsibilities, its own set of unspoken rules. Even within the family unit, roles were clearly defined. The paterfamilias the eldest male, wielded immense authority, not just over his children, but often over his adult sons and their families too. The materfamilias the mother of the household, though not participating in public political life, held significant sway within the domestic sphere, managing the household, educating her children, and often advising her husband. Imagine the quiet strength of such a woman, moving through her elegant home, the soft rustle of her stola, the gentle scent of lavender and olive oil accompanying her, as she oversaw slaves and ensured the smooth running of a complex household. Her influence, though private, was profound. To navigate this intricate social landscape, you would need to develop a keen sense of observation, a sensitivity to nuances. When to offer a respectful greeting, when to defer, when to speak, and, perhaps most importantly, when to remain silent. The concept of dignitas a sense of personal worth and reputation, was paramount for Romans, especially those of higher status. To inadvertently diminish someone's dignitas could be a grave social error. You would learn to offer the proper salutations, to understand the subtle shifts in conversational tone, to appreciate the importance of patronage and loyalty. It was a constant, gentle dance of acknowledgement and respect. As the day gives way to evening, the complexities of these social interactions slowly recede. The city's inhabitants, having performed their roles, navigated their hierarchies, and fulfilled their obligations, gradually retreat into their private spaces. The grand houses grow quiet, the bustling streets empty, and the social dance pauses until the first whisper of the next dawn. The echoes of those unspoken rules, those subtle distinctions, begin to fade, leaving only the quiet hum of the night. You can feel the stillness now, a profound calm settling over the ancient stones, a sense of deep rest after a day of such intricate social navigation. Let the understanding of that long-ago world drift gently from your mind, as the comfort of your own bed welcomes you. As the last vestiges of the Roman day surrender to the twilight, a different world begins to emerge, not with the gentle hush we might expect, but with a new symphony of the night. Imagine, for a moment, the sun dipping below the horizon, painting the sky in hues of deep orange and purple over the Capitoline. The vibrant, bustling energy of the Forum begins to recede, the voices of merchants fading, the clatter of carts diminishing. Yet, true silence is a rare commodity in the eternal city, even after dusk. The transition from the golden glow of late afternoon to the profound darkness of a Roman night would be startling to our modern eyes. There are no electric streetlights, only the occasional flickering flame from an oil lamp in a doorway or carried by a late-night traveler. Moonlight, when it blesses the city, casts long, dancing shadows that transform familiar alleys into labyrinthine mysteries. Without the constant hum of our contemporary world, every sound becomes amplified, carrying further, demanding more attention. Listen closely, and you might first discern the lingering echoes of the day, a distant dog barking, perhaps the faint, convivial laughter spilling from a *corpona* or tavern, where wine flows and stories are told under the smoky glow of lamps. The scent of roasted meat and stale wine mingles with the damp earth and the subtle, earthy aroma of the Tiber, carried on the evening breeze. A cool air begins to settle, a welcome respite from the day's heat, inviting you to draw a rough wool blanket a little closer around your shoulders. But as the hours deepen, the sounds shift, becoming more distinct, and sometimes more unsettling. The narrow, winding streets, often left uncleaned, would carry the rustle of foraging animals, rats scurrying through refuse, stray dogs sniffing for scraps, their barks occasionally erupting into sharp, territorial disputes. From time to time, you might hear the shrill cry of a cat, echoing eerily from the rooftops, a sound that pierces the quiet like a tiny, sharp needle. Beyond the animal kingdom, the human element of the Roman night presents its own unique tapestry of disturbances. Imagine the slurred songs of drunken revelers staggering home from a late feast, their voices growing louder then softer as they navigate the dark, uneven paving stones. Arguments might erupt suddenly in a nearby tenement, a brief, passionate flurry of Latin words exchanged before fading back into the night's general murmur. The wooden structures of the *insulae*, or apartment blocks, would groan and creak under their own weight, settling with an almost ghostly sigh, perhaps sounding to an imaginative ear like the whispers of the past. And then there are the sounds that hint at the very real dangers of the ancient night, though from our comfortable vantage point, they remain distant and abstract. The irregular clang of a watchman's lantern against his spear as he patrols the darkened streets, his low, guttural calls echoing "all's well," or a warning of fire. A sudden, sharp crackle in the distance, followed by the faint scent of smoke on the wind, could send shivers down the spine in a city built largely of wood. Imagine the faint, hurried footsteps of someone moving through the shadows, their purpose unknown, or the distant, muffled thud of a closing door that seems to resonate with untold secrets. These are the sounds that remind you that protection in ancient Rome was far less certain, and the dark held more than just shadows, it held the unknown. But even amidst these disturbances, a deeper quiet eventually descends. The most boisterous revelers find their beds, the animals settle into their temporary truce with the night. A different kind of stillness emerges, broken only by the most persistent sounds, the distant, rhythmic splash of the Tiber, the gentle sigh of the wind through an open window, or perhaps the soft, steady breathing of those around you. It is a quiet born not of emptiness, but of the world holding its breath, waiting for the first whisper of the next dawn. Now, as the imagined sounds of that distant Roman night recede, let them carry away any lingering thoughts, any small worries. Feel the warmth of your own safe space, the gentle comfort of your surroundings. The sounds of ancient Rome, with all their historical echoes of danger and disturbance, are far, far away. You are here, now, in peace. Let the soft embrace of the present moment settle around you, guiding you towards a restful, undisturbed sleep. And now, as the last echoes of that long, imagined Roman day begin to gently fade, let us softly draw you back from the bustling forum and the narrow, shadowed streets, to the quiet comfort of your own space. Feel the gentle warmth that surrounds you, the familiar softness beneath you, the secure stillness of your present moment. The journey through ancient Rome, a rich tapestry of history and imagination, has come to its peaceful close. Take a deep, slow breath, and feel the gentle rise and fall of your chest. Imagine the air around you, clean and still, carrying only the faintest, most comforting sense of your own home, perhaps a hint of lavender, or the clean scent of fresh linen. Gone are the complex, earthy aromas of a Roman kitchen, the acrid tang of wood smoke, or the particular scent of sun-baked dust. Here, now, there is only peace. Recall the first whisper of dawn in that distant city, the faint, growing light that seeped into the insular windows. Now, contrast that with the soft, filtered glow that might enter your own room, or perhaps the complete, comforting darkness that cradles you. The cacophony of Rome, the creaking carts, the hawkers' cries, the constant, urgent chatter of a city perpetually awake, all those vibrant, demanding sounds have dissolved into a gentle hush. Listen closely, and you might only hear the soft settling of your home, the distant murmur of the night, or perhaps the quiet, steady rhythm of your own heart. It is a profoundly different soundscape, isn't it? One designed not for survival and struggle, but for rest and rejuvenation. The Roman street, a vibrant, overwhelming place of life, where every step was a dance through a sensory deluge. Recall the uneven cobblestones, the press of the crowd, the ever-present movement. Now, feel the smooth, unyielding support beneath you, the spaciousness of your surroundings. There is no jostling here, no unexpected splash from a passing bucket. You are secure, still, and entirely at peace. Roman dining, with its garum pulses, and flatbreads, held unique flavors and intricate social rituals. Remember the unfamiliarity of the Roman table, the absence of so many foods we take for granted. Now, imagine a comforting meal of your choosing, prepared with ease, free from the surprising ingredients of ancient times. Appreciate the abundance and variety that defines our modern tables, a luxury beyond the wildest dreams of most Romans. Consider the daily toil, the physical demands of Roman life, drawing water, grinding grain, the constant effort. Think of the calloused hands, the aching muscles. Now, feel the gentle relaxation in your own limbs, the unburdening of your body from such strenuous labor. Your resting body is a testament to the ease and convenience modern life affords, allowing your muscles to truly unwind, your mind to drift. Roman public health and private care, a realm where knowledge was limited, dangers loomed large. Imagine facing illness or injury without antiseptic, without modern medical understanding. It was a world of resilience born of necessity. Now, reflect on the quiet confidence of modern medicine, a vast network of care and knowledge. That secure feeling, that quiet assurance, is a profound comfort as you settle deeper into your rest. Even Roman leisure, with its grand spectacles and often brutal entertainments, challenged modern sensibilities. The roar of the crowd, the clash of gladiators, a world far removed from the gentle, quiet relaxation we seek. Here, now, your leisure is a personal choice, a moment of quiet reading, a peaceful walk, or simply this soft descent into sleep, free from public spectacle. The Roman night, often a time of unsettling sounds, uncertain shadows, and lurking danger in unlit alleyways. The creak of buildings, distant shouts, the threat of fire or crime. Here, you are safe, enclosed by solid walls, protected by the quiet vigilance of the modern world. The only sounds are those you choose, or the gentle, natural rhythms of the night itself. As we gently close the door on our journey through ancient Rome, let the contrast settle softly in your mind. The vibrant, demanding energy of that lost world, against the serene, comforting peace of your own. Feel quiet gratitude for the simple luxuries you possess, warmth without constant effort, clean water, soft light, silence. These are the echoes of Rome, softened and transformed, reminding us of humanity's journey from a rugged empire to modern comfort. Let the final images of Rome dissolve like mist, leaving behind only a sense of wonder, a quiet appreciation for your soft bed, your warm blankets, the secure stillness of your room. Your journey through history is complete. All that remains now is to sink deeper into the comfort, to feel your muscles truly relax, to let your thoughts slow and soften. Feel the peaceful stillness settling over you, a gentle wave of calm. It is time to rest. Sleep now. Sleep now. Sleep now.